I knew something was wrong the moment my uncle slammed his fist against the hood of my car. It echoed through the driveway like a gunshot, sharp, final, meant to rattle me. "Open the door," he snarled. "We need to talk." I didn't move. Not at first. I just watched his shadow blot out the porch light, listened to my cousin's whisper behind him, heard my mother sob like she was starring in a tragedy she authored herself. I didn't understand why they were all there, why they looked at me like I'd stolen something sacred. But then my aunt held up the crisp legal envelope, the one the lawyer had handed me just hours earlier. Her voice cracked. "We know what they left you." My stomach tightened. The air thinned. Every instinct screamed run. Instead, I stepped out of the car. And that's when everything exploded. They shouted. They accused. They demanded. $26 million. My grandparents' entire estate. Apparently stripped them of every ounce of civility. I barely remember who shoved me first. I remember hitting the gravel. I remember the sting, the taste of blood, my mother's voice ordering me to stop being selfish. But I remember the last sentence most clearly. Hand it over or get out. By midnight, I was on the sidewalk with a duffel bag and a family who looked at me like a stranger. That was the night I stopped being their child. And the night I started becoming something they never saw coming. The next morning, when they stormed my grandparents' mansion to throw me out, they froze, every one of them, when they saw who stood beside me. Their faces drained of color, fear crawling up their throats, because they knew instantly they were already too late. I used to believe my family loved me. Naive, I know, but necessary if this is going to make sense. My grandparents were the only ones who treated me like blood. They showed up, birthdays, graduations, scraped knees, late-night calls. Everyone else treated me like furniture. Present, forgettable, replaceable. But after the mansion incident, years before the inheritance, they softened. Invited me to dinners, holidays, pretended to care. I mistook proximity for affection. I mistook tolerance for love. I didn't realize back then that they were studying me, preparing for the moment my grandparents would die and the vault would open. The first clue was a whisper. I'd walked past the kitchen during a family barbecue months before the accident. My uncle said, "She's the favorite. You'll see. They're going to screw us." My mother shushed him, but she didn't deny it. Another clue. My aunt casually asking if I had access to my grandparents' accounts. She laughed it off. I didn't. And then, after the crash, the masks dissolved completely. When the lawyer announced in that polished office that I was the sole heir, no one congratulated me. No one hugged me. No one grieved. They stared with hunger, calculation, and something uglier, certainty. They thought I'd fold. They thought I'd be scared. They thought I'd still want them. They were wrong. I didn't scream when they kicked me out. Didn't cry. Didn't beg. I walked down that street with blood on my lip, gravel in my palms, and a clarity I've never felt before. This wasn't grief anymore. This was strategy. By sunrise, I was sitting with my grandparents' lawyer, reviewing property transfers, security codes, and legal protections they'd arranged long before their deaths. My grandparents had foreseen exactly how my family would react, and they'd protected me. But I wanted more than protection. I wanted justice. So I asked a single question. Can everything be locked down today? The lawyer smiled. Already done. Step 1. I changed every code to the mansion. Step 2. I transferred control of the funds into a trust managed solely by me and monitored by the attorney. Step 3. I hired a security detail, quiet, discreet, former federal. My grandparents' favorite man among them. He'd known my family. He'd seen what I hadn't. When he shook my hand, he said, "I'm glad they left it to you. They trusted you. The others, well, you'll see." And oh, I did. Within 24 hours, my family tried to break into the mansion under the guise of checking on the property. Security escorted them off. They screamed, threatened lawsuits. What they didn't know was that my grandparents had recorded every conversation they'd ever had about the estate. Videos, documents, statements saved in secure folders. Evidence of manipulation. Evidence of intent. Evidence they'd tried to get my grandparents to change the will for years. I handed everything to my lawyer. He called it bulletproof. I called it justice. They arrived in a pack, banging on the gates, demanding entry, claiming I was trespassing on family property. I opened the door slowly, let them taste the victory they thought they had. Then he stepped beside me, my grandparents' estate manager of 23 years, a man my family had bullied, ignored, and underestimated. He held the folder of evidence, thick, damning, ready, their faces drained. My mother's hand shook. He spoke first. His tone was calm, but the blade beneath it was unmistakable. You are all hereby notified of the restraining orders filed this morning. Attempts to access this property or the estate will result in immediate arrest. The will stands, and you have no claim. The silence afterward felt surgical, precise, final. My mother tried to speak. Her voice cracked. I looked her dead in the eye. You told me to get out, I said. So I did. Out of your reach. They left in broken formation like a defeated army. Some cursing, some crying, all powerless. I closed the door, the thick, cold click of the lock echoing through the hallway. For the first time since the crash, I breathed. My grandparents weren't here anymore, but their protection was, their trust was, their love was. My family had tried to take everything from me. Instead, they handed me freedom, and I took it quietly, strategically, completely. Revenge doesn't always need noise. Sometimes the silence is louder.